you.
Well, we've got quite a few on here, and we have all of our wonderful speakers on. So we're going to go ahead and get started. Got you on, Tom. Good deal. Okay. Thank you guys very much for taking time out of your day to come and join us. I think we have a great collection of people here that all have different views or different input to provide us in different ways to market our business in this very unusual time, where I refuse to call this the new normal because it's going to end. And I put in a chamber request, and my understanding is it's going to go through.
Done, Kim, done.
So, but we have Brian. I'm looking at my square, so please don't think that I'm calling anybody out individually. We've got Brian Wall with Fatty Smokehouse. I'm sorry, Brian Pickard with too many Brians. We've got Brian Pickard with Fatty Smokehouse. Brian Wall with Taconka.
You're close. Tatanka.
Okay.
Tatanka. You got it.
Taconka. So sorry. And Autumn McMahon with OEC. And we have Jennifer Edwards with REI Business Center. And we have Chris Fox with Chris Fox. So we are going, because we do have such, Brian is playing with his computer and he's distracting me.
Perfect, Brian. I love it.
What? No, I was going to show you something. I'll show you later. Never mind. I'll show you later.
Okay. So what we'll do is we're going to start with the ladies first. Sorry, guys. And I'm going to go ahead and give it to Autumn just in case we have a little 5-year-old that decides to make it.
I appreciate that. The tiny one is napping, so we're good. Well, this is not how I intended to start, and I will be brief on the front end. But Kim, I read a great quote by Brene Brown yesterday, in going back to, like you were saying, our new normal, and it says, "We will not go back to normal. Normal never was. Our pre-corona existence was not normal, other than we normalized greed, inequity, exhaustion, depletion, extraction, disconnection, confusion, rage, hate, and lack. We should not long to return, my friends. We are being given the opportunity to stitch a new garment, one that fits all of humanity and nature." And I start with that because that is what I think, while we would never wish for this, we would never hope for this, I think we have been given an opportunity to redefine who we are. And I think the people who do this well will be the ones that market well and come out on the other end effectively. So I think specifically what I mean by that is we're seeing opportunities to work remotely. Do I think that 100% remote work is a great idea? No, but I do think that there is a balance there when we talk about, so many resources are devoted right now to how do we attract great younger generation. I think part of that is work-life balance. I think that is something that they are keenly tuned in on. I think this provides an opportunity for us to experiment with that. Who works well remotely, who doesn't? I think you are seeing people come up with great solutions to this opportunity. We're not going to call it a problem, but to this opportunity. And what I mean by that is, one of the greatest examples I've seen of this so far is Engage Learning, which is a nonprofit that works with kids in classrooms. So they focus on STEAM education, so science, technology, engineering, art, and math. They obviously can't be in the classroom with kids. Their premise is to create unique solutions to problems, and they empower the kids to do it. They empower the kids to create the solution, to manufacture it quite literally. So an example of this was they challenged a group of middle schoolers to create a charging station using renewable energy. And they came up with a solar powered renewable charging station that they literally designed, they soldered themselves, et cetera, et cetera. So that's what they normally do. What they're currently doing is they're making PPE for medical frontline workers, right? So they have found a revenue stream. They found a way to position themselves in front of a new market because they're creatively redefining who they are based on their unique skill set. And I think that is at the heart of what I want to say today, and what we can discuss is that is how people will weather this. I think especially small businesses. How can you remarket yourself and educate your inline consumer on what that looks like? So, yes, we might have fewer businesses, but is that actually an opportunity for businesses to jump ahead and to kind of catapult themselves ahead of where they've been in the past? And I think it is. And I think what you will see is the people who survive this and survive this well will be the ones who are the most creative. You're seeing this already with restaurants who are delivering food, or they're delivering their supplies. I think we are uniquely poised in America to be entrepreneurial and to come up with unique solutions like that. And I have some practical ways that you can do that I can jump into now or later. Kim, I don't want to take too much time. You tell me.
You have the floor for now.
Okay. Okay. Feel free. You just wave at me when you need to cut.
About 4 more minutes.
I'm watching my time. So I think the most useful tools that are the most accessible right now are avenues like this. Obviously, Zoom. If you have Microsoft Office Suite, I think Microsoft Teams is really useful. One of the things that we've used really successfully with my team is Slack. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that app, but what I have told my team is any meetings will happen on Microsoft Teams where we can look face to face. Anything that you would have formerly like yelled across the hall or popped into my office, we communicate via Slack. So that could be a daily check-in, which we do. I think that's more important now than ever. That's another tool that I would put in your tool belt, is checking in with your team in a formal capacity, probably on the front end of the week. Probably you already do this with a Monday morning meeting or whatever that looks like, but daily check-ins. And I do those one-on-one with my team. And it might be as simple as a quick call. I do at least one face-to-face call individually with each team member every week, but a daily check-in. So that might be in the morning, that might be in the afternoon. Just say, hey, how you doing? What do you need? And that might be about work, or it might be about how's your mental health holding up. And then I think that I would just end with probably more important than ever before is staying really current on what is available through the government, through the state, and how quickly that is changing. So there's really practical things that we need to be aware of, like financial assistance. And, I know so many small businesses right now are talking about, do we furlough employees? Do we lay them off? And what does that look like? And I think that the businesses that do that well and are really educated on how that works will fare the best because it's different. And I think, one of the things we have heard for years, that the most important thing we can do as adults right now is never stop learning, that's what makes you a good business person. Never been more important than it is today, because it is changing so fast. I see Perry on here. Perry, I think their team has done an awesome job of this. How are they repurposing their radio to be not just all about sports, but they've done a remarkable job of bringing different people in the community on to talk about what they're doing, what their day-to-day looks like in response to COVID-19. I can tell you that one of the things OEC is doing right now is we've launched a podcast. If you want to listen to it, you can listen to it on Apple and Spotify. It makes me feel very high end over here. It's called The Current Buzz, but Zoom is a great tool for that. So what are some ways that we can engage our audience differently than we have in the past? And I will end at that until we have questions at the end.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Autumn. Jennifer, we were going to go ladies first, but Brian Wall just informed me that his daughter's got a voice lesson, and it might end up being in the middle of his presentation. So we're going to go ahead and let Brian go real quick, if you do not mind.
Well, thanks, Kim. I appreciate it. And thank you for indulging me. I didn't know that. I just got a text from her. She said, just by the way, I'm going to start my voice lesson here in a few minutes. So it'll be wonderful, but I don't think you guys want to hear it. So I appreciate the opportunity to be here this morning. I'm going to kind of piggyback on some of the things that Autumn said, but in a little bit different way. And this is an extension of a presentation that I gave earlier in the month to another group. And it's sort of my take on some practical tips for marketing. And for those that I have not met, I apologize. As Kim said, my name is Brian Wall. I'm with Tatanka Creative, and we serve South Oklahoma City and more primarily. We're a full service ad agency. I'm a one-man shop. I work with a lot of other freelancers, and we do everything from graphic design, business cards, brochures, trade show items, and video production, social media. So a little bit of, we run the gamut. We run a little bit of everything. In a former lifetime, I had the pleasure of originating the concept and the art and the format for a little program that you guys may know called Best of South Oklahoma City and More. And I'm so proud that that now 10 years later is still going strong. And of wrapping the water tower in Moore, Oklahoma with a big giant alien banner, if you remember that from years ago. So that was kind of some interesting highlights of a time gone by. But today, let's talk about working from home. And this has actually been not so much so difficult for me personally, because I've operated the agency at home for the last 5 years. So I'm sort of sliding into this pretty well. I miss greatly being the opportunity to go out and do a lot of networking and business development, as I'm sure that many of you are as well. But I think there's some things that we can sort of try to do, at least to mitigate the effect that this is having on our businesses and organizations right now with some of these tips. So first and foremost, let me say, if you have not updated your organizational information on all of your electronic platforms, to do that. So go, put it on your website to let your customers or clients know what's going on. What are your hours? How can they reach you? What operations are happening right now? And then also do that on your Google pages and on your social media pages. I think we take it for granted sometimes that we're like, they don't really care, but they do really care. And right now, as was mentioned, with screen time being up, people are online more and more and more. So they're craving information that you can try to give to them. And even if you just reach a few people, isn't that worth your time to at least do that? Because it would be something you would do operationally anyway if we were operating under normal circumstances. So update your information on those channels and platforms. Secondly, develop a plan for ongoing social media content right now. I've got one of my largest clients who has shuttered, and I have tried to convince them that there is some valuable information that's going on. They're still having maintenance facility. They're still having security. They're still doing repairs and upgrades to the facility while they're not there. And that is valuable information that they could be sharing with their clients and customers, and quite frankly, their employees that want to know that they're still being taken care of while they're not there. And that can be some really engaging content. Really, if you look at it, this is just modern PR. Years ago, we would tell clients, if you send one of your employees to training, let's put out a press release about that. So we're just kind of going back to the roots of what we did and finding little nuances, little things in your business that we take for granted that our customers and clients would really enjoy. And it doesn't have to be a big blown out production. Maybe it's just one photo that you put on Instagram with a couple of hashtags on there, just so that you're keeping engaged with the people that rely on you before and will rely on you when you get back to business in the future. And a great example of this, you probably have already heard about it, is the National Cowboy and Western Heritage Museum turned over their social media to their security guard. They went in 1 week from 6,000 followers on Twitter to more than 100,000 followers. And I think that number is like up to 300,000 people now. If you haven't checked it out, it's really engaging. It's a lot of fun. I'm sure they're running out of content because he's been just about everywhere in the museum. But the way that they have done that was so simple. And it was just the fact of security working with marketing together and developing a plan. So it was fun on both for security and for marketing, and it's done fantastic things for the museum itself. Then also, that's an opportunity to showcase your new products or services. I tried to pick a few that were, they're in the Moore area or in the Moore chamber. And so yesterday was a good example. I saw if you guys have taken takeout from Alfredo's, they have now started offering free queso on Wednesday night with every takeout order. So that's a great incentive that they've already got and packaged into their offerings. Just to remind people you have a whole plethora of Mexican restaurants to choose from. Why choose us? Well, here